All right. We are back with another single function tutorial, and today we're going to talk about aggregate or aggregate, I guess if it's the verb. And this is a real powerful function when you have a data set and you want to group up by a certain categorical variable and run statistics. So by that, what I mean is, like, let's look at our loan data here. And you'll see that first column is state, right? And let's say, what if I wanted to know what is the average annual income from everyone in a state, right? So what I would want to do is say, I want to take everybody in New Jersey, add up their income, and divide by the number of people I have in New Jersey. Same thing for California, South Carolina, and all of those, right? So that what I have is, for each state, what is the average annual income for those states? And with aggregate, that makes it very simple, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make a new code chunk here. And then I'm going to first look at the structure of my loans with that str that we saw in a different video. And I'm going to go ahead and run that. And there is all of my variables and what type are things they are. The reason I bring this up is because I can only do an aggregation on a categorical variable. So if I want to group things by state, I need to tell R that this is a categorical variable. It just thinks it's characters, that it's just random letters. It doesn't know that each of those states is a category that I want to put things into. So I'm going to use the as factor that we've talked about before in class and in some of the videos. So I'm going to say that go into the loans data set, and that state variable, I want you now to change that. So that is going to get as dot factor, which is the function for changing it into factor of that very same variable. So that line of code is going to say, hey, from now on, change the state variable into a factor version of itself. And I'm going to leave this structure right after it. So now I changed it, and then I reran the structure. And so now, sure enough, it now, instead of saying state is a character, it says state is a factor. And it says it has 25 levels. Levels are what it calls each one of those categories. I realize there are 50 states, but there are only 50 loans here. And so what that's saying is, within our 50 loans, 25 different states are represented. Maybe there's nothing for Hawaii or some of the smaller states here. Maybe this set was taken from a certain portion of the United States. Who knows? But it is now a factor, which means now I can use my aggregate function. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this structure. I don't need to know about this anymore. And I'm going to try to aggregate. So I'm going to say aggregate. I can't spell that well. So I'm going to go ahead. It tries to autocomplete. I'm going to push tab. Yes, that's what I want. And it autocompletes that for me. Then I'm going to say, what am I going to aggregate? Well, like we said, we want to do loans, $. We want to do, let's do annual income. Again, tab to autocorrect or autocomplete. And then I'm going to say tilde, because that's saying I want to do this by what? So tilde. And then I'm going to say loans, $ state. So it's going to aggregate total income by state. But the last thing I have to tell it is I have to tell it, how do I want to aggregate it? Do I want you to give me the mean income of every state? Or do I want you to give me the maximum income of every state? And so what I do in here is capital FUN to say, what's the function that I'm going to apply? And in this case, I'm just going to say, give me the mean, right? So this is going to say, give me the mean income of grouped by state. So when I go ahead and run that, there it is. So there's my states. It says it's only going to show me 1 to 10 of 25 rows. I can have it show more if I want to down here with this 1, 2, 3. But here it's showing the average or the mean annual income of Arizona is 55,000, of California is 100,000, and so on. But I can do whatever I want in here. Instead of mean, I could have put in another function. Any function that I can do on a set of data, I can do here. So I could say, what about the minimum, right? Because that's the min function. And I can run that. Here's the minimum function. So the minimum for Arizona is 55,000, same as the average. I'm guessing we only have one loan from Arizona. The minimum for California is 35,000, 100,000. I can put in, what's the max if the min works? The max works too. There's the maximum for each state. I could get a little more interesting and say, what is the, let's see, what's an interesting one? How about what is the standard deviation for each state, right? And again, some of these, like Arizona and Connecticut, I'm guessing I only have one loan in there, so it doesn't have enough information to calculate a standard deviation, but for where it can, it does. And so then if I want to, I could, if I said, hey, mean, I could go over here and say state average income equals, and then run that. And now rather than just putting it out, it has put it into a data set that I can use later. So if I click on that, now I have that saved as a variable. There are all my state average incomes. And so there is a lot of things you can do with that aggregate function to see, group it by whatever categorical variable you have and run the functions. So that is the real basic quick version of aggregate. I encourage you guys to play around with it and get used to it. As always, if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to shoot me a direct message. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.